Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Indexer Office Hours. Today is the 21st of October, and this is Indexer Office Hours 230. Thank you very much for posting the agenda there, Juan, and right on time. For anyone who is new to Indexer Office Hours, this is the town square where graph ecosystem participants come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for indexers. As always, you know what I'm going to say. This is a conversation and we do love participation, so feel free to get involved in today's conversation via voice or text. If you're having any challenges with voice, do let me know and I will get that sorted for you. As a reminder, this session is going to be recorded and posted onto public channels like YouTube. So if you are concerned about privacy, just bear that in mind. And with that, let's get into today's exciting agenda. As always, I hand off straight to Carlos for our regularly scheduled Repo Watch section. So feel free to take it away, Carlos.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again for this week updates. So we have, let's start with the most important. Aragon is a patch release for 3.2.1, and Arbitrum Nitro also released two patch versions from 3.7.4 up to 3.7.6. So these are all related to 𝗨𝗀𝗂𝗟𝗶 hard fork, which has been rolled out already, caused some disturbances. The Aragon one, in particular, with enabling again the beacon API on Kotlin, which for a while had not been working. And Arbitrum Nitro also had some hiccups, and 3.7.6 should allow you to properly follow 𝗨𝗂𝗟𝗶 now. Then we have the get release for 1.16.5 patch release. Also some small updates, recent updates, and as usual, Streaming Fast is very quick to release the upstream updates. So we also have a pair of Firehose Ethereum and Geth from Streaming Fast catching up with Geth 1.16.5. They're also updated. Outside of that, we have Nethermind, a minor release. We're now at 1.35.0 at sizable improvements. So if you're running that, you probably want to update. And 𝗨𝗀𝗂𝗧 has had two patch releases. They're kind of minor and impact only some chains. So for some of you, maybe you're not in a hurry to upgrade. Others, depending on the chains you're running, they may want to check the release notes and update. And I think that's it. Yes, that's it for execution in contested clients this week. So outside of that, we have GraphStack released GraphNode 0.41.0, which is really nice. I think it was yesterday, so it's very recent. And on Launchpad Stack, we have some chart updates for GraphNode, ProxyD, 𝗨𝗀𝗂𝗧, Aragon, and Arbitrum Nitro, which most just keep up with upstream on all of those releases. And that's it for this week. So I'm handing off to Juan for the usual segment as well.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, getting into Protocol Watch, as always, we have a few things to cover. First of all, forum governance. There's the chain integration stock, which is it has a few updates. I think probably Kate knows a little bit more about that. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it has been discussed already last week. But just in case there is an update on that thread, there's also the latest dispute, which is request for information about disputes GDR46. This dispute, unfortunately, is essentially the same thing that has been happening for like a couple months already, where one indexer is just copy-pasting POIs from other indexers. We're really unsure why he just keeps on doing this. But yeah, it's happening again. And as long as it's not exactly the same case, the result's going to be always the same, which is, accepting the dispute. So unless the indexer just says something on the forum, there's nothing more than we can do but to wait for 1 or 2 days just in case, because the indexer needs to have a little bit of time to respond. And aside from that, accepted the dispute because copy-pasting POIs from other indexers is completely against the charter. Then for forum research, we don't have any new updates. For the contracts repository, there are a few open PRs, mainly related to the new rewards eligibility oracle. So if you're interested in all of that story, there are linked there, I think, to our merge, and one might be open. And then for the network subgroups, we don't have any new updates. So that's pretty much it for Protocol Watch. Having said that, I'm handing over to Kate now.
Thank you, Juan. I posted the two announcements that I made last week and this week in the chat, so you can take a look at it. Last week, indexing rewards at the end of last week now live for 𝗨𝗲, 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗄, and Unichain. Finally! Yeah! Thanks for your patience. I know we've been waiting on this. We've also been working internally on our side to make the process of governance more seamless so that we can, execute these things more quickly while still maintaining our governance process. And so just wanted to let you know that. So if you didn't see the announcement, yeah, finally. And if you haven't spun up your infra, there's some guides there that our team created as well. And in addition to that, we also had our quarterly evaluation in Q2 and Q3 for chains which would be eligible to have their indexing rewards deprecated. And this is based on GIP 0084 that we were speaking about several months ago here on this call. We had some dialogue. We do have a forum post about it, and many of you weighed in. So these 4 chains are a combination of our evaluations from both of those quarters, and they are Fuse, Boba, Blast, and Mode. And so rewards for those chains will be deprecated as of November 25th. So you have a good amount of time to get those rewards in and to close your allocations starting the week of November 25th. I will continue to provide timely updates. If any of these chains are interested in any additional indexing support, we'll reach out to the community. I've just let them know and let you guys know as well. We'll let the subgraph developer community know. Again, this only affects indexing rewards. It doesn't affect the subgraphs, the network. It is still there. And so you can continue earning query fees. The subgraph developers can continue signaling on their subgraphs. You can continue serving those subgraphs. So again, this is in alignment with what we talked about, and moving forward, we're hoping we don't have to engage in this process as much because we are only moving chains through the process for full protocol support that we believe can maintain the level of adoption that will mean that they won't need to be deprecated to begin with. So please take a look at the announcement that I provided. If you have questions, let me know. And if you have comments, let me know. You can reference that GIP 0084. It's linked in the announcement if you want to go back and kind of look at the process that we laid out and spoke about together. And I will continue to provide timely updates to make sure that we kind of make that transition as smooth as possible for everybody. So thank you. And that's all on my end.
Amazing. Thank you everyone for the updates there. I really do appreciate you all for sharing. So we, as you guys remember, have a indexer support segment in IOH, and we've had conversations last week about the B&B subgraph, and there were some people who were having issues. I believe 𝗨𝗀𝗄𝗃 managed to resolve these issues. So I just message to see if he was able to kind of come on and maybe talk a bit about his experience and see if there's anything else he can share with us to help other indexers with that particular subgraph. So if you're able to, Marc-Andre, feel free to grab the mic.
Sure. Well, in the end, I did some digging on in the logs of that subgraph, and found that the error started appearing at a specific block in the not so far distant past. So I was able to rewind to a problematic block. But before doing that, I had to clear sorry, I had to clear the block cache and the eat call cache, and then a rewind of about 1 million blocks. So I was able to go before the first error in the subgraph, and from then was able to reindex everything. Took a little while. Took probably 4 or 5 days, but then came back in sync, and now the subgraph is properly working. So in the end, it was tricky. Well, it wasn't that tricky. I was afraid it will be more complex because there's several BSC subgraph that are not working at all, and I've tried fixing them in the past and never managed to resolve them. But in this case, the error was fairly straightforward to fix once the divergence point or the first error was identified.
Gotcha. And Mitch, I see that you're typing there. Oh yeah, you've just posted. Do you want to add any additional context? Because you mentioned this thread to me, so in case you have any additional context, feel free to share. And yeah, thanks, Marc-Andre, for sharing this one.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess Marc-Andre, that was good to know. But yeah, I just as I said in my message, like we're really trying not to lose this user because they're a pretty big user, and anyone that can help would really make a big difference. Because yeah, they've experienced a lot of bad, I guess, reliability in the past. So yeah, if anyone could help, that would be greatly appreciated.
Is anyone else? I can't remember. I'm just going to click into the subgraph to see if anyone else is indexing this. But anyone else on this call had issues in the past, and I see Steak Squids on this. Luna Nova, is Luna Nova here? Is Gemma here? Yeah, Gemma, do you have any issues with the subgraph? Did you manage to figure everything out? See, you're here, Graphternauts, but they're not here. Yeah, I think, and easy to stake as well. Yeah, Gemma, feel free to share some thoughts if you have any. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's hard to index. Maybe you want to share some of your challenges. Maybe we can try to figure it out for you here. Seems like Marc-Andre figured it out, so yeah, maybe we can help you out.
Yeah, I think in general the problem with these large subgraphs and these large old subgraphs is that if you were not indexing since the beginning, since a long time ago, it's very hard to start from scratch and hope to reach chainhead. That process can take weeks or months, and in some cases it might be impossible to do so, especially on BSC. And because in BSC they like to play with different EVM parameters, and they like to play with block size and the block time, and they really cranked it up a lot in the past few months. So many subgraphs that were easy to or that were easy to index are not very hard to index, especially when starting from scratch.
Gotcha. And Gemma's saying here, for us, it's gaining a few blocks and then stalling then gaining a few more and installing. I've tried rewinding, but it's moving slower than Chainhead. Yeah, yeah, and it's probably down to what you were just saying there, Marc-Andre. Yeah. Hmm. Do you think it would be like useful to share more information about how exactly you're approaching this gemma, and then maybe Marc-Andre can chime in and see if he can help you out because he seems to have figured out the issue. Uh, with that, I think that might be interesting for other folks to kind of listen to in on as well, because it seems like Josh was also trying to look at this subgraph as well. Um, mm. They have a few other subgraphs on other chains. They had a separate, particularly ancient bloated one on base. The builders that optimized in the springtime. It took months to sync. Okay, yeah, that was in response to your question there, Marc-Andre. Mickey responded and she asks a question. Did you start from scratch? Okay, cool. Sounds like Gemma may have started from scratch, but she's going to double check right now. Cool. Yeah, it'd be great to help you out and see if you can get that sorted on the call. That'd be pretty cool to or at least like a something to test or something to try and get support there, because it sounds like this customer could use the reliability there. Okay, we have a question here from Mitch. I think from a user point of view, it's better if it looks like the network and indexes are making an effort to provide a good service, even if it takes time, rather than giving the impression that it's being ignored. It has been more than 2 weeks since this was first flagged, so if the process had started then, it might actually have been synced or at least closer to Chainhead. Yeah, that's in response to what Josh was saying there about how this would take time. Any thoughts, Josh? I see Josh is typing. Question here from Marc-Andre to Mickey saying, are there other subgraphs from this customer that we could focus on? Yeah, that's actually a good question. That's a good question. At least it would help them um, uh, with some perception that they're being looked after, and then that will ease them a little bit until we sort this out with this BNB subgraph.
Yeah, that's
And
a good point. Oops, sorry, were you gonna say more? I didn't mean to butt in.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, please chime in.
Okay. I was like, it's just too much to type. I'll unmute. Okay, good question, Marc-Andre. What we can do, maybe Mitch, if you have time today, we could do like a little kind of table of reverts subgraphs, kind of query volume, and then which indexers are currently allocated, and if there are other risks on especially the kind of high query volume subgraphs that they have. Like if there are other ones that are high volume and don't have enough indexers, we can flag those in the indexers channel and coordinate. If that sounds good, let me know. And then, yeah, Gemma responded. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, Gemma, if you were working from an old copy, I was wondering if clearing the call and block caches like Marc-Andre suggested would help, but probably not if you're starting from scratch. And then I thought there was a third thing I was going to say. Oh, Mitch, I do agree with you. Like we could have been further in the process if we had just started optimizing their subgraph. However, this is the issue. I think when Jerry looked into it, it's like it's using a super old spec version. A bunch of the best practices aren't implemented. So I think it would require reworking their subgraph, kind of rebuilding it. We can certainly flag that to builders now and see if they have capacity to take that on, but that could be, I think it took over a month when they rebuilt the base subgraph in the springtime. It took them, I think, like 6 or 8 weeks or something to rebuild that one, and then about 2.5 or 3 months to sync. This one I think is a little less complex, but we could certainly go down that road.
Yeah, I think Josh is kind of. I was reading his text and he was kind of implying something similar, but in the context, yeah, in the context of build a style. Uh, yeah, I mean, is that something that could be pushed forward? You know, what would stop that from happening? Is there any sort of blocker there, or?
Sorry, Josh, I missed your message. I see it now. Yeah, that's totally true. So for us, this is more of like a retention play. If you recall, a few weeks ago, I think Ford and some others came and alluded to a new project, kind of new software that EdgeNode is building. And we're working with a small group of indexers under NDA to prepare that new service for the network, probably in Q1. And for us, the return on kind of your infra suffering now is to retain this type of customer that's high volume, and potentially convert, some of that volume over to the new service in the springtime, and then that would actually yield rewards for indexers. So it's more of like a band-aid just to get us through the next few months. But you're right, it does cost you money and time. And I totally understand this is a ginormous pain in the butt to troubleshoot and try to support these ancient bloated subgraphs.
I may have misread this, but I think Derek, you came off mute there for a little bit. Maybe you want to chime in from the builder style perspective. Maybe
Yeah,
I
and I
missed.
had I had a couple of questions because I think this subgraph specifically was one that we deployed. I'm looking at a version. I published this one a while back. Chances are, this is just a Uniswap v3 subgraph. Like when we did the other optimizations for other chains, it's still relevant for BSC. So like deploying those wouldn't be tough. Obviously, we'd have to resync all that. So maybe that's a solution. I'm curious, the user that's using this, because we were initially building it for Uniswap. Do we know who the user is and whether they're maintaining this or they're just kind of like leveraging what we have?
It's
We-
yeah, it's
maybe
this is revert again.
okay, gotcha.
This is the same one that you guys did that like really good job on their base subgraph in the spring time. If you
Yeah, so
recall
it's just for another network.
Exactly. Yeah. And in hindsight, I think a lesson learned for us, like, I don't know why I didn't think at that time for us to look at all their other subgraphs that had high query volume and optimize them at that time. So definitely kind of a miss on my part. We should have looked at that in February.
One other question is, do we know, because it looks like there are other subgraphs that are indexing the same factory contract. Have we looked through to see if there's others that are at the chain head that would service what they need?
Sorry, the muting and unmuting sounds so ridiculous now. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Mitch knows. Or he can take a look.
I don't actually know if there are other subgraphs that are, well, like have the same schema and indexing it. I guess the same contracts in the same way for BNB. Are there?
I mean, that's what would need to be inspected. I'm seeing that there's 14 different subgraphs indexing that same factory contract. I haven't gone through each of those, so I don't necessarily know. Hold on 1 second. No, that one's doesn't have the latest. Yeah, I'll reach out to you though. I have some ideas.
Okay, cool.
Bullish, Derek. Awesome. And it sounds like Gemma's gonna give this a go. Yeah, seems like the back and forth was helpful in the chat there. So good to see that. Paulie B asks, is this the list of the same guy? I actually haven't seen this link. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do anyone know? I mean,
I don't think that's the same customer. I think that's someone else.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because you mentioned it's revert. Yeah, okay. I'm just checking the chat, see if there's any questions here that aren't answered. Yes, you responded to Josh about the upgrade indexer. This one is indexing the same contract and has 6 at the chain head. Okay, cool. Nice. Maybe it's interesting for the conversation if you want to share those ideas, Derek, with us, or if you want to just catch up with Mitchell's in private, that's also fine as well. But if it is something that could be of interest, maybe might be worth sharing.
We can look at we can look through the other subgraphs. One note though that's just of interest I think to everyone. The Explorer is now built such that you can search for a contract address in the Explorer search or that little search bar or whatever. So there's times where you have someone that's trying to query subgraph A, and that's in indexing contract 1, and maybe there's an error or something wrong with subgraph 1. No, we said subgraph A, contract 1. But if you grab contract 1 and paste it into the search bar, you might find that, oh, subgraph B is also indexing contract 1, and maybe that has all the data that someone needs. Right? This is typically more relevant when you have third-party integrators that are just trying to grab someone else's subgraph rather than building it themselves. But that's a thing.
Amazing. Appreciate you sharing the alpha there. That's awesome. Let's see, Mitchell's put something in the chat here. Yes, this is correct. And although there are a few here, the question is whether or not the schema for these other subgraphs would fulfill their needs. I'll reach out to them and check. Okay, awesome, amazing, cool. That's really positive. Sounds like that conversation was quite fruitful, and there's a lot of follow-ups there that can be done, which is great to see. Amazing. Any final thoughts on that before we move on? Alrighty. Oh, I see Mickey's typing, so I'll create space. Can you also please pull a list of all their subgraphs, query volume, and number of indexes, and how many at chain head for each, please? Okay, cool. That was a request for Mitchell. Sounds like he's responded to that with a thumbs up, which is awesome. Great, awesome, fantastic. That is really positive. Great to see that that conversation was quite fruitful, and lots of good things will hopefully come of that. So now I will move on to the next segment. So it's always good to check in with you guys and figure out what what kind of feedback, suggestions for future topics that you guys are keen on exploring in the future. I've reached out to a few people, and so a couple of things are on the horizon. No pun intended. we do have some Horizon stuff coming up. But yeah, would love to hear your perspective, and also I can follow up on this this whiteboard here and some of the stuff that we've got here. So I think Marc-Andre he asked if Payne could come on and discuss his reasons for shutting down his indexer. I've reached out to get him on, but I think this is something that might take a bit of convincing. So yeah, TBC on that. I'm going to continue pushing, and hopefully we can get a response on that. And yeah, because it could be interesting. Like I think it's a very big decision. Payne is someone who was very active in the ecosystem with his indexers, and so it came as a surprise to I think many of us when he announced that he was shutting down. And I think that there's a lot of benefit you could gain from hearing a perspective from someone like Payne on his experience, and that could inform many indexes going forward. So yeah, we'll keep pushing on that front, and we'll let you guys know. I see Marc-Andre's typing, so we'll look out in the chat for the message there. Another one here is I've seen the indexer agent forces deployment management when dips are enabled, even when deployment management mode is set to manual. Is there a way to disable that? I can't remember. I didn't attribute that correctly on here, so I can't remember who asked that and if that was covered. So if anyone remembers like if you're the person who proposed that, do let me know, and I will try and attribute that correctly and try and get that followed up on. Yeah, it'd be great to hear if folks have any thoughts there. And then also in general, like if anyone has any particular feedback on IOH, any topic suggestions for the future, or any outstanding questions that they would like to have answered, I'd love to just create the space for that here. So yeah, feel free to grab a post-it note and plop it under the relevant section, or even just type in the chat, and we can try and figure out, if it's a bit of feedback, a topic suggestion, or a question. Okay, dips is not released yet though. Is a question there. Yeah, I honestly can't remember the context there. I wish the person who asked that question was here to provide a little bit more context. But yeah, I will try and bring this up another time to see if the person who asked that question will attend, and we can get that answered. Marc-Andre says, another OG also did a similar announcement. Hearing that mood isn't great from others, maybe that's a more joyful discussion for IOH, but maybe this is a discussion that should take place elsewhere. Yeah, that's not, yeah, the most joyful discussion. Maybe, I mean, IOH is not always about joyful. We take the good with the bad, and it's obviously a venue for the community to discuss all manner of things. Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I take that back. Indexer working group is probably the best place to mention that, as Mickey says. Yeah, I can reach out to Slim, to which index are you referring to, by the way? Marc-Andre, the other, because obviously Payne made this announcement, but I'm curious which one is the other indexer, OG indexer, just so I have some visibility, and then I can follow up with Slim on that, and then we can try and was it Gary? Hmm. I see. Yes, it was. Okay. 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 Yeah, Zurich's Fury. Yeah, that's Gary. Okay. Well, I will reach out to Slim, and have a discussion with him on that. And yeah, if that's something that people want to discuss, or maybe like those OG indexers can come to Indexer experience group and just share their thoughts, maybe in that bit more of like a a private environment, because obviously it might be a sensitive topic. That might be the best route. So yeah, I will do that right now. I will message Slim just so I don't forget, because that is a very important topic. Okay, boom. I sent a message to Slim. So yeah, we'll get a follow up on that. And what I can do is, if there's a thumbs up there from Slim, yes, he's currently out of office. So yeah, just kind of put that in his Slack inbox, and then yeah, I guess he'll get back to me when he's back in office. But yeah, once I hear back from Slim, and I get the thumbs up that this conversation could go forward with Gary and Payne, then I'll obviously make an announcement at IOH. Hey, on this date, we're going to have this discussion. If folks are interested, please join. That call is open for everyone. It's not recorded, but it's an open call nonetheless. Any indexer can show up, and it's a bit more kind of in the weeds, if you will, with a couple of indexers. So yeah, I will share that. That's yeah. I'm glad we're able to move that conversation forward, because it is important. I guess folks do want to. I think it'd be really helpful to have that information there be shared with other indexers. Thank you, Mark, for sharing that, and I'll follow up on that once I hear back from Slim. Okay, any other topic suggestions, outstanding questions, feedback, anything like that? Would love to hear people's thoughts. It's always good to open up space for stuff like this at IOH. Usually program quite a bit of stuff, but open gaps like this are useful to just solicit some feedback and suggestions for topics. I guess as a way to spark this conversation, if this is useful, anyone keen on doing another Postgres session? I reached out to the Postgres guys, and just waiting to hear back from them. I'm sure they'll be willing to do another Postgres session. But what's really helpful on their side is if you will come with pre-baked questions, things that they're struggling with from a Postgres perspective, and then we can kind of get those things answered in an AMA format. So I'll just put like Postgres Q&A question mark, and then folks can. I'd like to see a graph node config setup. Perfect, amazing. Okay. Bring your configs to the party and let's share notes. Yes, love that. I would love to. Yeah, honestly, I would love to get like a super tactical session going. I think those would be like massively valuable. Yeah, like I think that uh I think just people going back and forth could be like super useful. So yeah, I've noted that down. I will follow up and try and get that sorted. Anyone else? This is amazing. Just fire away. Like this is great. We'll make sure that these topic suggestions get followed up on. So, Vince, I saw you typing there. So if you want to share something, feel free to. Keen to hear your perspective. Nice. It was an accident. Haha, lol. Okay, no worries. All good, all good, all good. Okay. Yeah, folks, far away. Feel free to throw some topic suggestions. Very keen to hear perspectives. Would love to get something on the board. I really do like Derek's idea about graph node config session. Bring your configs kind of party and share notes, collaborate. I think that could lead to a very interesting conversation, and it can get quite tactical, which I think is nice, especially if we have like an intimate group as well, like a smaller group, and it's very engaging. That would be really cool. I see Mickey and Eugenia typing. Keen to hear your thoughts, guys. Ah, yes, Power Up is ready. Of course. Folks, feel free to get it. Very good choice of secret word, since we have been talking a lot about Horizon, and Horizon is indeed on the horizon. So folks, feel free to grab the Power App there. Okay, this part doesn't need a whole topic, but before Payne left, he collected a bunch of bugs, features, requests from indexers. We spent a lot of time at the indexer experience working group prioritizing them and handed the list off to the GraphNode team. Wanted to close the loop on that. Here's the list. Ah, yes, that is awesome. You did mention that. Indeed, indeed. So do you think it would be a thank you? That's really, really good. So do you think it would be a good idea to maybe get some folks from the GraphNode team to come on board to just kind of like address uh which which ones are being prioritized? I can see like priority 1 through 5, um, uh, and like how this is being addressed, and et cetera, et cetera. You think that would be a good use of time for a future episode, future topic at IOH?
Um, I get the point, like just to close the loop when things are implemented, but
Mhm.
it might be tricky for coordination since Krishna will be working on most of this, and it's like midnight his time when this call starts. So it's just kind of tricky to get him on an actual IOH, but maybe we can think about ways to have kind of semi-regular check-ins from the GraphNode team, um, or yeah, find some kind of way to communicate better when we are addressing the things you guys have requested. I don't really have a super good idea right now, but we'll maybe think about it, figure out some way to operationalize that without having to drag Krishna out of bed after a long work day anyway.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very late call for him. Maybe what we could do is we could spin up a Slack group with Christian and a few others from the GraphNode team, and then AI version of him. We could, yeah, spin up a Slack group with Christian and a few other folks in the GraphNode team. Christian GPT, exactly. And then there could be a discussion on how we could tackle this, and then maybe someone else could represent the GraphNode team, maybe someone with a more favorable time zone, and then we can just dedicate some IOH time to this. Do you think that makes sense?
Probably. I think as long as I wouldn't want to do it every week, there just wouldn't be anything to share, but maybe we could do like realistically also, you guys know the velocity for us shipping GraphNode releases is slow anyway. So maybe before a new release is going to get cut, perhaps we could get in that kind of cadence where we bring on a GraphNode engineer to talk through what they've implemented and what you guys can expect in a new release. And then that way the feedback's kind of aligned with releases. If
Yeah,
that feels
definitely.
like not frequent enough, sorry, then we could do maybe like once a month or once every other month, bring someone in, if you want more frequent updates.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We can figure out the cadence. Before every release or once every month or other month. Yeah, all of that sounds good. We can figure out what makes the most sense. Cool. I will spin up a Slack group with folks on that. So Slack group for uh Graph Node team to discuss bugs. And I'm just going to link the Notion that you shared with me. Perfect. Yeah, and then we can get that addressed. Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That would be a pretty cool topic to discuss. I think indexers would find that particularly useful. Amazing. We got another 9 minutes, so if anyone has if any of you folks have any ideas for additional topics that we could discuss going forward, any questions outstanding or any feedback, would love to hear. Love to hear. I see Derek is typing. Maybe start with the 0.410 version that was just released. Yes, okay, cool. I will make a note of that as well. Okay, cool. Yes. When I spin up the group, I'll just mention that folks want to start with this particular version that was just released. Yeah, I guess if that's the case, then we could try and get something sorted for next week's IOH, since this has just been released. Cool. Amazing. Amazing. Anything else in the way of topic suggestions, outstanding questions, feedback? Would love to hear. This is all great. This is all fantastic. Really do appreciate everyone sharing what you've shared thus far. Would love to hear more if there's anything else. All right, I see Mickey's typing. I was just going to say that we could use the index. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, amazing. It means that I don't have to spin up another Slack group. That's awesome. Cool. Gonna make a note of that. Use this group on Slack. Cool. Amazing. Amazing. That's helpful to know. Anything else in terms of thoughts on this particular topic? Any topics for future IOH sessions? Any outstanding questions, feedback? Would love to hear. Awesome. I see we can step in a topic. Yeah, lol. There were so many memes on Twitter. It's great. It was like you claim to be decentralized, but when AWS went down, your chain was screwed. So, yeah, that was funny. It was entertaining to be on Twitter and to see that. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy when there's a big outage at one of these cloud providers, how much of the internet gets disrupted. It's actually quite spooky. Except Pinter is on AWS, so we're a bit affected. Sorry, Al. Yeah, yeah. Pinata, sorry, Pinata. Yeah, Pinata on AWS. Any impact past customers knocking on the graph store yesterday? Yeah, interesting. Did anything? Yeah, just missing files while Pinata was down, but all better now as far as I can tell. Cool. Good to hear. Good to hear. Glad there weren't any sort of major issues on our side. Yeah, nice. Nice. There you go. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, well, if there aren't any sort of burning questions, thoughts, topic suggestions, feedback, anything like that, then I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who's joined today's conversation. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. I see Vince is typing, so I'll make space in case he wants to share something. Yeah, just want to say a special thank you to everyone for all the thoughts. Sounds like it was a very positive discussion in the chat there earlier in the conversation, which is great. And my Amazon deliveries are all delayed. Yeah, it was a pretty bad day for Amazon, huh? Okay, well, yeah, as I said, thank you everyone for joining today's iWage. We really do appreciate all the engagement. We'll see you guys again, same time next week. I'll try and get the GraphNode folks to come on next week so we can do the session that Mickey suggested. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you again, same time next week. Don't forget to get your POAP. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and bye-bye. Take care.